But now it isn't your girl's recording. Let's go ahead and let's start up this damn reaction, shall we? Casual Geographic, shout outs to you. I'm glad to see it. You got another video for us. Top 10 most criminally misunderstood animals. So without further ado, let's get into this next video, y'all. Let's do it.
Can recognize their caretakers and show affection, will bond with certain individuals and follow them around, will often bring someone an object and play tug-of-war, gentle, inquisitive, and very intelligent. You'd think all this was from someone describing their dog. Actually, these quotes are all from people talking about vultures. The Jurassic-sized graveyard griefing alopecia pigeon actually has the personality of an imprinted puppy. You might not know that, because most times people see one, it's either thousands of feet above the earth looking for death, or on the ground feeding off it. Truth is, the vulture just might be the most generationally misunderstood bird, and in the spirit of Earth Day, I'm going to be talking about the top 10 most maligned and honestly reputationally screwed over animals. In my biased opinion. Can't please everyone.
That fish eyes. Yo, Babs! With the 26 months. I appreciate you, gang. Reacted to the video that you sent.
Maligned and honestly reputationally screwed.
Now this is insane. This right here, this poor fish, the eyes out of this fish immediately bulged. Like,
in the spirit of Earth Day, I'm going to be talking about the top 10 most maligned and honestly
look. Normal eyes.
Reputationally
big eyes.
Screwed over animals. In my biased opinion. You can't please everyone.
I like my
list, so let's get into it. Starting off, it's not hard to see how vultures got done dirty. It's pretty hard to earn public favor when you dive bowels deep in a bloated buffalo for a living. Then you add the fact that they'll leak liquid nasty all over their legs to stay cool, projectile vomit in self-defense, and in a world of pretty privilege, vultures have a homely handicap. But anyone who's worked with them will swear by how smart they are. They're arguably the smartest birds that aren't corvids or parrots, and they're part of the exclusive group of animals able to make and use tools, with Egyptian vultures using a rock to have an ostrich-sized omelet. And yeah, get on their good side and it's like having a lapdog with wings. Apollo was a turkey vulture who apparently caught feelings for her caretaker Dave. They're also smart enough for a vulture vendetta to be a real thing. But what makes them underrated is just how much worse our quality of life would be without them. Botulinum toxins is the deadliest natural substance known to man, and vultures eat it like candy. Vultures can also tank tuberculosis, anthrax, and even the bubonic plague. Folks associate them with death and disease, but that's exactly what they help prevent. And if you want to know what happens when you avoid vultures, look no further than India. With about a 99% loss, vultures in India suffered one of the worst bird blights in history, mostly thanks to a drug given to cattle that also caused kidney failure in the feathery coffins. And with less of nature's cleanup crew taking care of expired bodies, the number of feral dogs went up, and so did cases of rabies. And if you remember my Halloween video, a rise in rabies might be the biggest jihad to the human race. But that's not the only social work vultures offer for free. The turkey vulture's nose is so OP, they've actually been used to help find gas leaks, with engineers putting special chemicals in pipes. And with them being more corpse happy than a necro in a morgue, many places rely on vultures as alarms against poaching activity. Unfortunately, the poachers started to catch on and have been murking the snitch tweeties by the hundreds, even the ones that are endangered. Worst part is, they're pretty easy targets because it's hard to hide when you're part-time in the sky, and there's no witness protection for a sewer stork. Pretty easy to victimize when you're vulnerable and easy to track, and these are vultures we're talking about. It's not like they have cloaks or camouflage or a VPN. And you know, that last one would actually help a lot, since something like NordVPN would help the sky caskets go off the grid, since NordVPN creates an encrypted tunnel for your data and protects your identity by hiding your IP address, which means, unlike vultures, you can disappear to a place no poacher can find you. Another difference is, where you can find a flying 4 months extra with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee, it's virtually risk-free. Nothing about being a vulture is risk-free. That's why the condor nearly got wiped off the census. But in a W from humanity, conservation efforts help bring the big bird back from the brink. Hopefully people start to come around to vultures. Anything that chill with capybara can't be that bad. Just too bad you can't say that about number 9. The Grim Reaper once released a gang of guppies into the Amazon and made it our problem. Or at least that's what you would think from how much the media gets on them. You've probably heard that piranhas can undress a cow down to the bones in minutes, and that skinny dipping in a pool of piranhas is one way to get blacklisted from breathing. Truth is, these fish felons are mostly scavengers, and when you do see one with an expired body, they're usually not the cause, but a symptom. They don't go out of their way to homicide humans. Most attacks involve people either splashing around like prey or getting way too close to a feeding frenzy. But they're basically the bees of water. They don't want smoke, quite the opposite. for all that face, piranhas are naturally timid and scare easy. So much that you actually have to give them places to hide in an aquarium because of just how neurotic they are. Also, they're not strictly meat. They'll also eat fruits, they'll eat seeds, leaves. There's even a type that eats mostly river reeds. But that wouldn't really make a good movie, now would it? Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like they're not capable of mass destruction, but their PR team really did them filth. Jeremy Wade sat in a pool of allegedly trigger-happy piranhas and didn't even get touched. And the whole cow story came from a Theodore Roosevelt hunting expedition where he saw it happen. The catch is, the guides wanted to impress the president, because who wouldn't? So they actually netted off a section of the river and starved the fish in it for a week, only to feed them with a cow while Roosevelt was watching. And just like the cow, the piranha's reputation never recovered. Sometimes all it takes is one incident to royally screw over an animal. Something next on the list knows all too well. Let's just get this out the way. There are some deaths where you never forget where you were the moment you found out. For me, that's Kobe Bryant, Chadwick Boseman, and of course, Khaki Animal Jesus, aka Steve Irwin.
Oh
and
my gosh, bro. Oh my
Chadwick
gosh.
Boseman, and of course, Khaki Animal
RIP to all of them, you know, all three of them, bro. But nothing stings more than when we found out about the crocodile hunter dying, bro. Finding out and a bitch ass stingray out of all the things, bro. You know how many people it is always hating on the crocodile hunters? They like, oh, one of them crocodiles gonna get him. It wasn't even a fucking crocodile, bro. It's a bitch ass stingray. Man, still to this day, I don't care what people say. Stingrays has been, you know, that's the op. That's the biggest op. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, oh, stingrays look so cute. Nah, fuck all that. No, nah. They took my nigga. They took my nigga Steve out. Hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
Jesus, aka Steve Irwin, and many have had smoke for stingray kind ever since. But before you go wage war on a water waffle, first we gotta talk about just what went down. For one, Steve Irwin got struck directly in the heart, causing massive bleeding. He also never traveled with anti-venom, because anti-venom was anti-Irwin. Wouldn't have mattered anyway, because it wasn't even the venom that did it. Again, it was the bleeding. Stingray venom isn't even all that fatal. And at the time, it was only the second reported stingray-related death in Australia since 1945. It took over an hour for him to get to emergency workers, but again, it probably wouldn't have made a difference. The point is, literally everything that could have possibly went wrong. Like piranhas, stingrays are what a New Yorker might call a scary ad that would rather run away than run a fade. I went to the Cayman Islands a couple of months ago and visited Stingray City, and as someone religiously terrified of the ocean, I can tell you, the crepe of the coast is in fact chill like that. Pro tip, if you're ever walking around stingrays, do the stingray shuffle. You're just going to want to drag your feet. Basically, you don't want them to leave the floor in case RNG makes you turn a ray into a welcome mat. Other than that, unless you're a crab or a fish, you really don't have much to worry about. Besides, let's not act like Steve Irwin, the same man that took a love bite from a cobra and said sorry to the snake, isn't somewhere in the afterlife eternally apologizing to the stingray for spooking him. Stingrays have been misunderstood ever since, but we can drop the vendetta. If we know anything about Steve, that's exactly what he would have wanted.
Hey, listen. I hear you, but it still fucks stingrays, bro. It still fucks stingrays, bro. Buff ass nigga. Hey, listen, you know, I'd rather be around a whole bunch of levels of sharks in a cage, of course, safely, than being around some damn stingrays, bro. But I will say this: if somebody doesn't like, as me being as a mermaid, I will tell y'all to just be a little careful when there's y'all on the beach, when y'all in waters and stuff like that, because you could be walking casually and then you can come across a jellyfish slightly and get stung badly. You can step on something and get pinched. Like, there's so many different things in the sea. The sea literally has so much wild shit in there. And you could just be casually just walking on the shoreline, and then, you know, a little crab that's buried underneath the sand and everything like that can just feel your foot and you get pinched. So, you know, just be careful. Yeah, I'm hearing that they hurt like shit. That's why you got Crocs on. I don't. You wear Crocs to the beach? To the beach inside the water?
Yeah, I'm really gonna have to explain putting dolphins here. Okay, well, I feel like this weird thing happened where we went from Free Willy to finding out dolphins take that title seriously. So much that we ended up overcorrecting. And I personally and publicly talked endless amounts of shit. Don't get me wrong, the facts I said, I'll say again, and I'll say it with my chest. But me calling them water Weinsteins or homicidal hot dogs or a blowhole bandit, nah, that's actually still crazy. But that's just me anthropomorphizing. I don't actually think they're evil. It's fun to treat them like humans, but they're still just wild animals doing what comes naturally. It's just that what comes naturally often involves them naturally. Actually, I should never mind. Look, when intelligent animals are
that whole segment right there was this you know, come to find out, dolphins and monkeys also get down and dirty, have spicy time, just like humans. The problem is with dolphins is that they will go ahead and like gangs to get the female or to try to get the female. If you get what it is that I'm saying, I can't say the word, but that actually does happen within dolphin world of you know, this is why it is. Hey, listen, you a dolphin, you gotta ask for consent. You know what I'm saying? You know, yeah. Dolphins really get down like that, and it is crazy. It's crazy that the fact that is like I found that out. I'm like, oh.
there's always going to be duality, and I don't even need to say it. I just have to show you these two articles. But dolphins can be wholesome too. Like the same way parents will baby talk a toddler, mother dolphins actually do with their calves. They'll also sing to their baby before it's even born to teach them to recognize the sound of its mother's voice. We also found out that dolphins in a pod will often go out of their way to make less noise so to not confuse the calf in the oven. And when it's out, being a helicopter parent means mama dolphin won't sleep for up to a month straight. There's also decent evidence that dolphins get excited around pregnant women because they can detect the fetus and understand the implication of new life. And of course, there are stories of dolphins saving people from drowning and sharks. Hey man, I'm not going soft. I'm still gonna get my jokes off whenever I can. I just feel like because they're so smart, people make the mistake of holding them to human standards, which is pretty unfair considering a lot of humans don't even reach those. Dolphins aren't Disney characters or the spawn of Satan. They're just them. And as the final boss of dolphins, you can go ahead and put orcas in that too.
Yeah, orcas actually is
The
the
greatest
real.
trick squirrels ever pulled was convincing the world they're just whimsical, nut-loving creatures, when they're actually rodent psychopaths profiting off pretty privilege. They'll
Yep.
eat things like baby birds, baby bunnies, and even snakes. Red squirrels are also part-time cannibals, with males that'll seek and destroy any pups, only to get with the mother of the kids they just murked. Let's not forget that time a group of squirrels dismembered a dog for barking too loud. Also, the number of squirrels with manslaughter charges is higher than you think. It's estimated that chew-happy bushtails cause up to 30,000 fires a year, not only costing millions in damage, but likely barbecuing human collateral in the process. There was even a time a squirrel damaged the electrical system of a complex with NASDAQ, freezing computers and crippling the market for over an hour. That wouldn't be the
Wow.
last time. In fact, one did the exact same thing 7 years later. Now, I know I'm doing the squirrels what I just admitted I've done to dolphins, but in my defense, I have a bias. I once got jumped by a pack of squirrels in Manhattan, and that was one half of a sandwich I never got back. Moral of the story,
Nah,
there's
that's
a
crazy.
reason the smartest man in the universe immediately took a knee in the face of the Acorn Mafia. And here you have another case of animal gaslight. Pigs only get the reputation of being dirty because we keep them in filth. In reality, pigs are pretty clean, and when they have a choice, they'll refuse to poop anywhere near where they eat. Pigs are arguably smarter than cats and dogs, and most experts say they're more trainable too. They somewhat passed the mirror test, and some were even taught to play video games. In '98, Lulu the Potbelly saved her owner from a near-fatal heart attack by rushing out into the road and playing dead until she could get someone's attention and lead them back home. I also feel like we forget how well pigs did without us, and from the Red River hog of the Congo, to the pygmy hog of India, to the bearded Borneo pig, the swine smart enough and adaptable enough to live virtually anywhere. On a
Oh, wow.
dolphin-type beat, mother pigs will often sing to their piglets while nursing, and speaking of piglets, they can recognize their name at only 2 weeks old. You can argue pigs are everything we value in an animal. They're
I mean,
intelligent,
piglets are
they're
cute.
affectionate, they're super trainable.
are cute.
Because they were bred for food, they got big screwed. Look, I'm not gonna virtue signal. You could give me 101 facts on cows, I'll probably still be out here door dashing McDonald's. But it's pretty criminal what we did to the pig's PR. Put it this way, this guy would have been by far the smartest character in the barnyard. They deserve way better than what they've gotten, and I'm not saying you have to give up bacon. All I'm gonna say is, according to cannibals, the closest tasting thing to human meat is pork. I'm gonna let y'all meditate on that. Rats are number 4, and almost entirely because they got blamed for the bubonic plague when the main carrier of the lice and fleas that caused it was likely humans themselves. My theory is rats are found in cities, and cities are usually dirty, so we often see all rats as dirty. In reality, rats are constantly cleaning themselves. In fact, one of the ways they bond is by grooming each other. It's called allogrooming. Speaking of bonds, rats can often form emotional ones with humans, and anyone who's had a rat will tell you, at some point they'll try to groom.
I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't do this. You let a colony of rats just crawl up your leg. Yeah, nah, nah. This is cringe. This is a high level of cringe right here. Mind you, I'm from New York, and I still don't fuck with rats. I still don't to this day. And it's funny where it is that like yeah, obviously like when it is I'd be in the city with my mom. Like we'd be traveling quite some time from Newburgh all the way out to to Grand Central to different train stations and stuff like that. We'll go all around throughout the city to get to Brooklyn finally. And yes, sometimes you see rats, but I've never physically seen a rat in living quarters until it is I lived in Albany. Albany was where it is that I seen one, and now I'm just like, yeah, nah. Ever since then, I got a cat, and Shadow be doing what it is I need to be doing. I haven't seen one since. You know what I mean? I had a whole situation where my housemate had a rat that was in her tub, and I'm just like, shit, couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. It's like, oh yeah, can you let Shadow out? It's just like, nah, you was talking hefty shit about my cat. Now all of a sudden it is you had a little rodent up in your tub. Now all of a sudden it is you want to see my cat? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not how it works.
You like you're a giant rat. Rats can also provide a public service, with many African poached rats actually being trained to sniff out tuberculosis. The same species has been used to sniff out hidden landmines, and not only can they cover the ground in 20 minutes that would take a trained human days, they can obviously walk across the mines without going back to ground zero. Magawa, the explosive tech rat, earned a gold medal after sussing out 100 mines in Cambodia and clearing 225,000 square feet of land. He's not the only heroic roadie. There are several stories of rats saving owners from house fires where they easily could have hightailed it. If it wasn't for the bad PR, rats just might be the top pet. Only bad side with them is they have short lifespans, and your feelings will get hurt. The fact that this is the only animal that needed a trigger warning is enough to put spiders at third. Now, I'm not going to downplay arachnophobia like I didn't used to backpedal to pigeons, but spiders are a great example of bark being way worse than their bite. Take the tarantula, they're like the granddaddy of arachnid anxiety, but not only is their venom about as bad as a bee sting, not only are they so fragile they can literally explode if they fall a couple feet. Unlike bees, there's no record of tarantula venom terminating a person. Of course, there's thousands of types of tarantulas, and some are more of a jihad than others. But then you have the ones that adopt frogs as nannies, with the frog eating all the insects that could grief the spider's eggs, and the frog getting an 8-legged bodyguard. Truth is, there's about 50,000 species of spiders seasoning the earth, and less than 0.1% of them are a legitimate threat to your life. And that doesn't include the smallest spider in the world, the Patu de Gua, or jumping spiders, which are literally small enough to wear water as a hat. And when you add the fact that they basically have paws to help them walk vertical, and that some like the wolf spider can purr, are spiders not just the cats of insects? Oh my bad, arachnids. According to the CDC, the number of people murked by spiders a year is 7. You're more likely to get slept by a vindictive vending machine. Okay, you're not impressed. How about this? Spiders eat up to 800 million tons of insects that could otherwise destroy crops. If Thanos had beef with spiders, not only would there be way less food, it would be stupid expensive. You can thank spiders for a 4 for 4 not setting you back 400. Not to mention all the pesticides we need to stay alive when ironically turned the Earth into a disaster movie. Look, I'm not saying you got a cape for spiders. I know I'm biased. In fact, bias is probably why the next animal's number 2.
Oh my god. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. I said this earlier within the stream. I am an arachnophobist. And then you gonna put spiders up in here and you tell me the warning a little bit too late, gang. I react to you, Casual. Now I gotta see this now I gotta see this while it is that I'm editing. So it's double the fear.
I love Lion King, but they'll forever catch smoke for convincing an entire generation that hyenas are, well, that. Hyenas got profiled as scavengers when up to 95% of what they eat is something they can get credit for killing. Gaslight goes crazy because the literal Lion King poaches more food from hyenas than hyenas hoe lions. And since a laugh-happy vice trap eats every part of an animal, like land vultures, the world would be a much nastier place without the meerkat on a bulk. Everyone wanna shit on the garbage man until he quits and leaves you with the shit. But honestly, it's the stupid part that gets me heated. In experiments, spotted hyenas actually perform better in cooperative problem-solving tests than chimpanzees. You know, the chainsaw with thumbs we share 98% of our DNA with. Hyenas are way smarter than they get credit for. Take Waffles, for example. Waffles was a lady hyena in a clan, and at the very bottom of it, no less. And in just a year, she went from the dirt under the ladder to the alpha at the very top, and she didn't even have to fight for it. All she needed was the power of friendship. No, I'm serious. Waffles slowly made the right friends, built alliances with other low ranks, earned favor with some of the higher ups, and before the ones at the top could even realize it, the hyena named Waffles had caused what scientists would later refer to as the Syrup Rising. And you'd think she'd go power hungry once she got the throne, but nah, the opposite. She never switched up on the ones that got her there, and there were even times where she helped feed the cubs of low status moms. Cause hyena hierarchy is more about social networking and climbing the corporate ladder than just running fades all day. See, you wouldn't know that from just watching Lion King, and while some are starting to come around to this giant maligned mongoose, one movie ruined the last animals rep damn near permanently.
Number 1.
There was no way sharks weren't getting the #1 spot, and really, any way you look at it, we did this overgrown grief guppy grimy. How about the fact that the shark's KD ratio is about 10 a year to the 100 million that get murked by people? What about the fact that a coconut to the dome or a bathtub accident is way more likely to flatline you than a shark? There's the fact that we have over 500 species of them, but really only about 4 are seen as legitimately dangerous, so I don't blame you for folding the great whites, tiger sharks, bull sharks, and the underrated oceanic white tip. But this is a shark, and it's unproblematic to anything that isn't plankton. Same thing with the basking aka Kirby shark, which is really just a giant pacifish. Then you got white tip reef sharks that are not only non-aggressive, they cuddle each other to sleep. And you can't forget the lemon shark being the golden retriever of the sea that'll often form bonds with divers. Blondie was an 8-foot lemon shark that would go up to divers, but the only thing she'd be hunting for is attention and affection. And while yeah, I'm not exactly a huge fan of this, at the end of the day, I wouldn't want a shark in my living room. You can't be mad when you go into theirs. Because if there's one thing you should take from this video, calling it shark-infested waters is really wild disrespectful. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you drink water, hug your mother, and maybe give guppies a break. I promise you loan sharks end way more lives. Shout out to NordVPN for sponsoring this video, and I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Cuidado, cuidado.
What animal you got in the back of this police car?
Ahí va, ahí va.
Not the vulture.
Sí. Hala, venga, a volar. ¿Eh?
Hey, listen, you know, free my nigga Vulture. He ain't do nothing. My nigga arrested a vulture. Right. Now, casual. Next time it is that you be putting... You make a video about with a whole spider thing, I'm gonna be very pissed off, okay? Just give me a warning next time it is you just drop some damn spiders up in here. But nonetheless, casual, shout outs to you, gang. Thank you so much for the video. Shout outs to y'all in the chat. And shout outs to you at home. I will catch y'all in the next video.